And she was a small Irish lady with a hump on her back who loved to sew, and she was a little bit mean, and she, there's lots of stories of my grandmother that are always a bit like, when she'd drive a car, they were like, should you be driving anymore? And she'd be like, yes. And you were like, can you see?
Yeah.
Right. But my love of fiber arts, I think, kind of partially comes from her, more the sewing side.
Okay.
And then my other grandmother, my grandma Sereena, or Grandma Jackian, she was a crocheter. And so when she passed away when I was 9, and when she passed away, all of her knitting stuff, at that point in time, I had already started sewing.
Right.
And all of her knitting stuff was given to me because it was who in the family could use this?
Right.
And so I taught myself to knit basically because of that grandma. And I still knit to this day, and it's still one of my favorite hobbies. And I've taught myself wrong originally because I taught it from a book, and then when YouTube came out a few years later, because yes, I taught myself before YouTube.
Yeah.
That I retaught myself, and then when I got older, I knit so much that I taught myself how to pick. There's a picking versus throwing, and so picking is more common in Europe, and it's like a European style, and so I retaught myself that way. So have a lot of family things from my 2 grandmothers, mostly involving sewing and knitting, and a part of my career path as a young person. And then my grandfather, who was alive while I was alive, passed away when I was 6. So he was the first big experience with death. And I remember, maybe I don't remember it, but I've been told this enough, that there was the question of, is Sereena going to come to the funeral? Because I was at that age where it's when you're a little bit younger, you're not going to come because it takes away from your parents being able to grieve, right? But my parents were very much no, she's able to sit through a service, and so she's coming. And I actually honestly think it was very good for me, because though I don't have many memories from that age, I do very distinctly remember feeling very loved by that grandfather, and that going to that funeral was helpful to have closure and to have understanding of life. And so, all of my grandparents have passed away at this point in time, because I'm the youngest of the youngest.
Right.
So they were older. But I have little things from all of them.
It sounds like they're impacting your life. And I mean, the knitting and crocheting, I'm so curious about. Do you think of your grandmother when you do that? And did you try to learn the European method because of her, or just no?
No. So that's the funny thing, is she was much more of a crocheter, and I'm much more of a knitter.
Okay.
But when I talk about learning about it, I feel very connected to her. Right. And I should try to crochet more. I can. But I kind of feel like I took the seeds that were given to me, but I grew them in my own way.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
And I feel that that's kind of what all of the elders in my life want, is here are the tidbits we know, but do it your own way.
Yeah.
Because we have a really close family friend who, neighborhood family friends, and their parents were kind of, I didn't consider them grandparents, but they were kind of elders in my life. They weren't great aunts, they weren't great uncles.
Right, there's some influence.
Yeah, and so I still will talk about one is, his name was Ed, but I call him Granddaddy. And so in my head, I knew he wasn't a grandparent, but clearly that's a name that is a grandparent name.
Correct.
Right? So, whereas his wife, for some reason, was always Teddy to me. She just had her name and or her nickname, I guess.
Yeah.
But they were also influences in the same sort of way that elders were around me, and I felt comfortable with them. And in that same vein, my mother's mom, so Grandma Alice, had 2 sisters who didn't have kids, and my mom's a nurse. Okay. So we helped take care of them when they got older. And so I spent a lot of time around my great aunt Mary and my great aunt Agnes, and like in nursing homes,
Right,
and
right,
throughout my childhood. And I kind of think that I like intergenerational relationships, and I think that
You've been very blessed with that.
Yeah.
Very blessed.